Supervisor Tom Wheeler. We're here in Madera County, and we're going to talk a little bit about the job of being a county supervisor. You've been a representative of the folks in here in the Oakhurst, Awanee area for 14 years.
Well, I've lived there all my life, since 1958, and I should say all my life, since I'm high school on. And I lived in Oakhurst for a while, and I spent 19 years on the North Fork, Sierra, North Fork School Board, Sierra High School Board, and Mariposa High School Board. And so I guess I kind of got into politics, because I had a handicapped daughter that I didn't think the school was doing her right, so I decided to run. I'm the youngest one ever elected to the North Fork School Board. I was 28 years old. But they took care of my daughter from then on.
So would you call yourself a politician?
You know, when I campaigned and decided to run for supervisor, I worked on a cattle ranch my whole life. Had a little small business on the side, antique and a poultry shop and what have you. I didn't want to be a politician. I just wanted to get in there to be able to help the people. That was my whole desire.
So public service was your
Public
motivation.
service, that's what much better than a politician, because I'm not a politician, because I am not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what the truth is. And if you're a politician, you're going to tell that person what they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to know what the truth is, and that's where I've always been.
So, do you have any advice to someone who might be aspiring to represent their district in our county or any other county for that?
Any county, they're all the same. I work with all 58 counties, and I think the number one thing is common sense. And number two thing is never promise nobody anything and tell the truth, because no matter what, if you don't, they're going to catch up with you. And you make those decisions, what you're going to make every Tuesday, that represents to most people what's going to be best for our people, and that's what I make my decisions on when I vote.
Supervisor Wheeler, you've taken some controversial positions over the years. Recently with COVID, I've been following your Facebook publications, and you've got some pretty strong-willed people here in your community that don't agree with you.
That's for sure. And some of them are pretty good friends too.
Really?
That makes it really hard. But, I put out exact numbers that our staff, our county public health, and our county public doctor gives me. That's what I post. I don't put my opinion. My opinion is that everybody should get the vaccine, period. And having polio when I was 5 years old, spending a whole year in the hospital, not knowing anything was going on or anything, not being able to see my folks and my two brothers, just put something in me that I felt that I wanted to help people, because they helped me get survive. And without the vaccine, people are not going to survive. I mean,
What inspired you to get involved with politics?
well,
In the political, not being a politician, just being a citizen, and the idea of getting involved with government, it's, how should I put it, has a lot of negative connotations.
it does. I mean, it really does. But being on the school board, I had a lot of people say, you got to run for supervisor. You use your head all the time, and you make common sense decisions. And I done a few projects in Madera County, especially for my boss, Frank Wiley, for the Ranch Rebuild subdivision down over the hills, and built a shopping center in North Fork. And I built a couple of spec houses myself. And it seemed like every time I went down to get a permit or something, I had a hassle. There was always some crazy thing that I didn't feel that the county was doing the people right. And that one of the reasons I decided I thought I could get in there and maybe use a little common sense and change things around. When I first got elected, I went to all the departments, and I took a poster I made, and it said, "We're here to serve you," and I said, I want that posted in everybody's office. We're here to serve you. Play like you're a customer in Mervyn's. Of course, Mervyn's went bankrupt now, but I want everybody to be treated like a customer. I didn't want nobody to say, our staff to tell you, you could not do it. I wanted to tell you, how can we make it work? And that's our philosophy in Madera County, and I can take you to 100 contractors and developers who will agree with what I'm saying right now, that Madera County is probably one of the easiest places to get a permit from with anything you want to do.
To do the right thing. I worked with Madera Planning, and they could do anything they wanted to do the right way. And that was a big push for me as a professional and for the departments that I work for. But there is a wrong way of doing things. And I think it's the bureaucrat's job to make sure that people do things the right way. It's the elected official's job to make sure the bureaucrats are doing their job
The right way. That's what I think.
the right way.
About 3 months ago, probably 4 or 5 now, after we finally started going back, I did all my meetings right here in my little office, through Zoom and WebEx and everything else. Which I'm no computer genius, because when I got elected, I didn't even know how to start a computer. I didn't need one on the ranch. And I went down there finally, and I'd been there about 2 times with this woman that works in the office there. We've been there a little over 1.5 years, 2 years now, and she come up, she said, you got a bad reputation. And I said, well, I probably do, And I said, what's about this time? She says, you fired more people in Madera County than any supervisor ever has. And I said, well, that's not a bad reputation, I don't think, because if they don't do their job, they ain't working for Madera County. So just take that for advice. She said, oh, don't worry, I do.
In Mariposa County, we've watched a transition of us being a small government to becoming a much larger government. I started working for Mariposa County when we didn't have a CAO, and the supervisors essentially had the administrative responsibility, not only the legislative job, but the administrative responsibility.
That's a big deal.
The big issue that's come up frequently in our county is the role of an administrator versus the role of the elected board members. And I've worked in Madera County. You have a very much more sophisticated relationship with your administrative staff than I see in Mariposa County. Would you have any suggestions for our supervisors in terms of dealing with how administrative people
How to work with them and stuff. Absolutely. I think that's more important than almost anything we do. I mean, working with the public is one thing. Working with our staff and our CAO and everything is very important. I can tell you right now, we have stole so many people from Fresno and Merced County, mainly Fresno, that they come here and they said their supervisors don't even know who they are. They come here, I know most every single person we hire. And it's important, and all our supervisors are kind of that way. We go to our departments. We have departments. I mean, I started when I was chairman a couple of times ago. Jack, I started I know department head meetings every quarter. We started out every month because they'd never done it. And so every quarter now, they meet with all the department heads, the CAO, and our 2 board members. You can't have over 2, Brown Act. And we meet with them and see what their concerns are. And another thing I did when I first got elected, I was older than most of all of the supervisors, but I had a little common sense. And my boss, Wiley, always told me, you're only as good as the people under you. And if you haven't got good people under you, you're probably not going to get elected, or you're not going to be a boss very long. And so I wanted to do a study to see how efficient our departments were. And the past CAO that was there when I first got elected, oh, we ain't doing that, we know what we're doing, Tom. another supervisor say, hey, Tom, get used to it, that's where we've always done it. Well, not that way. Everything's changing every day. And so, after he retired, our new supervisor came, CAO come, and he says, Tom, do you still want to do that study? And I said, absolutely. We spent over $100,000 on the study for the whole county. The first year after we got that done, we saved $2, $3, $4 million just by condensing, cleaning up, moving our RMA from over there over by Walmart into our third floor. It was empty. I mean, all common sense stuff that just makes sense when you're trying to run a business. And it was just, it's just so important to communicate with your staff. And Jack, we don't need you. Okay, Bubba. That's my dog, Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniel?
Jack Daniels, yeah.
Oh, really?
I know.
So, you mentioned the Brown Act and open meeting laws and open government. I recently had an experience with a non-disclosure agreement between public agencies that were negotiating something that had something really important to do with our county, and now all the records of that are sealed. And I've developed kind of an attitude about the public's right to understand what's happening. I'd like to have a little bit of your opinion on that subject.
Well, I'm so open, it's not funny. I don't try to hide nothing. I do have to keep my mouth shut when we talk about it in closed session, because it's mostly personnel.
That's the law.
Matters,
It's the law.
It's the law, and, but anything else, man, when anybody says, hey, we maybe shouldn't tell them on that, well, I'm not that way. I think everything we do needs to be out in the open.
And there's concerns in some governments I've worked in about backdoor meetings or backroom meetings where decision makers get together and outside of the public arena and predispose themselves to particular actions. How do you think that works in government?
We don't. Period. We don't do that. We never do that. And even we watch it. Even if we go to if you go to a recreation deal, whether it's a party or something like that, we try to make sure that nobody sees 2 or 3 of us together, because we just don't do it because we don't want to be accused of that. And everybody on this board really, and they've been that way the whole time I've been. Every board member's been on them since we watch that because we want to be open to the public. We don't want them to ever think that we're making secondhand deals out there. And I might go talk to the developer myself. I mean, if you got something going right now here in Oakhurst, I'd go talk to you. I'd go look at your development. I want to firsthand what it is. And all the developers up here, even small ones, big ones, they always say, Tom Wheeler, can you meet with us and look at my project? Absolutely. And I just had a couple just in the last couple of weeks, but you cannot have a couple of board members and then go there and try to make some deal with this person, because I'm going to do it out in the open.
I've heard one elected official tell me that discussing controversial issues with his fellow elected people before a meeting allows them to look better in a public meeting because they're not arguing or debating things. How do you feel about that?
I don't like that. Just, I bring out, just go back and watch it. All of our meetings are, we memorialize them. They're on video, and you can go on MaderaCounty.com and look at every one of our meetings. I ask the most questions. I mean, like this last meeting, I pulled 7 consent items and talked about them before we could even pass the consent count. And don't think I don't get in some arguments. Hey, when I wanted to make a moratorium on well drilling out and on converted grazing land down there, I was probably the most hated guy to me and Max Rodriguez in Madera County. Farmers hated me, these guys hated me, but I knew what was coming. It came. Now we got it from the state telling us, hey, this is the way you're going to do it. Mariposa don't have water basins like we do. And, but I took the stand. There was 100 people out there in the stand. One meeting that I had, this previous supervisor, there was an escape route for Quartz Mountain down here, so we had escape route that was emergency only to a guy's property. But he called me right after I got elected, about 4 or 5 months, 6 months maybe, and he said, hey, they opened that gate and I don't want it open, Tom. So I went down there and looked at it, and it was a private emergency exit for Quartz Mountain only, and just not for everyday use. And so I went to the staff and I said, lock that gate. You know, the people will be pissed. And I said, I don't care, lock it. So we had a hearing on it. And there was 36 homeowners come down there wanting it open. And I stood up for that one homeowner and we locked that gate. And Vern Moss sat right next to me in the dais up there and said, well, you just lost your probably next election. You lost every one of us as voters. And I said, you know, Vern, tough shit, because I don't care. Because I'm not going to take that man's private property rights from him. They had no right to go through his property. Even during the hearing, I told the one guy who was both the loudest and everything else, I said, so it'd be okay then if I bring my four-wheeler and start going around your house? I'm going to make me a racetrack around it. Well, that's not. I said, it's the same thing. You'd want to go through this man's property, the same as me come over here and want to go through your property. They don't work that way. And you know what? In about 3 months, they had a Saturday, once a month, breakfast at one of the guys' houses. They invited me to talk. And I figured I was going to get chewed out from one end to the other. And the guy that was so mad at me didn't show up. And everybody was there, and they all thanked me for taking a stance and protecting that man's private property rights.
We're going through some issues on that in Mariposa right now.
And something like that.
The idea of running an election and running unopposed, that's something everyone aspires to, but you've never been able to enjoy that luxury.
Never.
Have you got some thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's probably because everybody up here is involved, and I think that's the way Mariposa is. I think everybody's involved. We're a small enough community. I mean, I can't tell you how many of these supervisors down the valley don't have opposition. And I had opposition every single election. Only one time it was one person that ran against me. The rest of them's been 2 and 3.
Yeah.
5 the first time. So it's probably because I'm controversial. You know, I tell it like it is. And some people like that, but a lot of people later when they stop and think about, Tom Wheeler just said that, and it's probably true. He's probably right. So maybe you know what you got when you got Tom Wheeler.
I've run for office, and I've also participated in a lot of elections as a voter.
Yeah.
As a voter, I personally feel it's really important that there's a contested office because there's different points of view and different approaches to solving problems. And if they don't get put out there and we don't find out what a person's solutions are or approach to solving problems, we tend to elect somebody who's a personality instead of a leader. And at any rate, that's me testifying, and I came here to talk to you.
I've never missed an election since I turned 18, but never once. And I won't. That's our God-given deal that being Americans we get to do. And opposition, I think, is the most important thing there is because it brings out stuff. Hey, it makes me stop and think. I mean, you get kind of, hey, everything's going good, I've been here 4 years, 8 years now, 12 years, what the heck do I got to lose, But when we have opposition, you gotta see some of the stuff that comes out. Hey, Tom Wheeler didn't think about that, but I sure will now, I tell you what.
It's a complicated job being a public representative.
It really is.
So Tom, this is where you do the work. This is your office?
This is my office in our home, especially when COVID hit. This was perfect for me. I got all my files right here, as you can see.
Yeah.
My laptop, I got a big computer
It
here.
looks a little busy.
It is busy because I have so much stuff going all the time. And,
So your piles are organized.
you ask me for something and I can find it for you because I got it every file marked. This is all the most recent stuff. This is meetings. I print them out on my printer and I got them ready in my laptop and I do Zoom meetings and I got everything right here. So if I need it, and I need to get into a file, that's all county stuff. All that is county stuff. And it's very important for me to be informed and educated on what decisions I'm going to make. So if I'm in Zoom meeting, which we run all of our board meetings from, are right here for the whole year. I only went down there one time during all the year for my board meetings.
So do you have an office in Madera?
Yeah, I got an office in Madera, and I also have now an office in Oakhurst at our new government center on Junction Drive in 49 that we purchased about a year and a half ago in the county. So we've got all kinds of, we got our planning department in there, we've got our water and natural resources office, we're gonna have behavioral health in there, and we're gonna have a temporary court in there also. And so I've got an office there in Madera and here. And so
Pretty impressive. Thank you for what you do.